A very warm welcome to the valedictory session of the West Zone Vice Chancellors Meet 2023-24, organized by the Association of Indian Universities and hosted by the Somaya Vidya Vihar University. We have had a very intellectually stimulating deliberation and multiple deliberations in the various technical sessions at this meet. We have had over 150 Vice Chancellors physically present as well as online from various universities from the Western region.
We request the honorable dignitaries to kindly grace the dais. Our chief guest, Ambassador T.P. Srinivasan Sir, President of AIU, Professor G.D. Sharma, Vice Chancellor of SVU, Professor V.N. Rajashekaran Pillai, and Secretary General of AIU, Dr. Mrs. Pankaj Mittal.
Thank you. We now request Professor Shivakumar, Professor of Economics from the K.J. Somaya Institute of Management and Dean of Faculty, Humanities and Social Science of the Somaya Vidya Vihar University, to felicitate our distinguished chief guest for the valedictory, Ambassador T.P. Srinivasan.
We request Professor Shivakumar Sir, Professor of Economics, Dean Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, Somaya Vidya Vihar University, to deliver the welcome address.
Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome the dignitaries on the dais. Honorable President, AIU, Professor G.D. Sharma, Secretary General, Professor Mrs. Pankaj Mittal, Ambassador T.P. Srinivasan, our own Vice Chancellor, Professor V.N.R. Pillai, all the dignitaries of the dais, and the Vice Chancellors who are attending in the online mode, my faculty colleagues. Just to give a brief about how we have progressed, the idea of conducting this West Zone Vice Chancellors meet commenced somewhere around middle of August this year. And we started gathering some information, contacting the Vice Chancellors as speakers and as participants in this prestigious conference. Middle of September, the actual work has commenced, and we received excellent support and guidance from the Association of Indian Universities. We had personally visited and taken the inputs from the leadership of the AIU on November 6th. And we are very happy to acknowledge that we have received excellent guidance from all the top leadership of the AIU for the conduct of, we had certain ideas, and these were crystallized and they were enriched through our discussion. The registrar, myself, and PR director, Mr. Tambe, we made a visit to the AIU. We had the two-day conference, which is about to conclude now with the valedictory. I sat through and I learned a lot in terms of how the changing dynamics of both educational field as well as of the economy requires a reorientation. That is the main theme, and there were some 3 sub-themes as to how we gear up to provide the relevant teaching and skill building to our young students. The first session yesterday, after the inaugural session, we had discussions with the participation of NAC Director, Professor G. Kannabiran, ICAR Assistant Director General, Dr. Seema Jaggi, AICT Advisor, Professor R.B. Kakde, who spoke on the various aspects relating to the theme. Technical Session 1, Sustainable Careers Navigating a Dynamic Landscape, how the dynamics of employment are changing. The speakers have deliberated on the types of jobs that are getting created currently as well as in near future, for which how they need to be reskilled, how the students need to be reskilled was the main theme. And lesser employment potential, that is what I heard one of the speakers saying, that earlier, a couple of decades back, the investment used to generate more employment and more new job opportunities, and that is shrinking, which means we can deduct that capital intensity is growing, thereby creating the lesser number of jobs. Also, one of the speakers mentioned that need to convert the IPRs, such as the patents, not by simply taking a rest after it is published in some journals, but they need to be converted into some tangible output and outcome. Technical Session 2, the human-centric skills in a tech-driven world, soft skills and emotional intelligence, the need for that has been deliberated. And today in the morning, we had a long discussion relating to the implementation of NEP, the roles expected of the higher education institutions leadership, the teachers, and also we need to do the best utilization of the proposal that has come up from the Government of India about 3 years back. Now, I take this opportunity to thank the Association of Indian Universities, the SVU management, the SVU leadership, and all the various committee members who have worked. I hope that you have had a good stay in the hotel yesterday and day before. If there are any difficulties or challenges, we apologize for our inability to take care of. We tried to take care of personally all the various intimations, the changes in the schedule and pick up, drop, all these things. We have tried our level best, but it's a new learning experience for us also. I personally believe that we have had a very useful 1.5 day session for the West Zone Vice Chancellor's Conference. A report is underway and it will be submitted to the AIU, and the key recommendations they would take up with the government with their inputs. And I thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to speak here. Thank you.
Thank you, Shiv-Kumar sir. I now invite Dr. Hema Bhadavkar, Associate Professor of the K.J. Somaiya College of Education and the convener of the report writing team, to present the report of the meet.
Yeah, good afternoon to one and all. I will be presenting a brief report of West Zone Vice Chancellor's Meet. The West Zone Vice Chancellor's Meet 23-24 of AIU was organized on the theme Future of Work and Skill Development, which was hosted by SVU, Mumbai, Maharashtra to hybrid mode during 19 and 20th December 2023. The Chief Guest, Honorable Governor of Maharashtra, Shri Ramesh Bais, expressed warm regards and conveyed his best wishes to participants at the AIU meet, despite being unable to attend in the person due to unforeseen circumstances. The program commenced with an inaugural ceremony held at the auditorium of SVU.
Would you want to use the platform?
Yeah. Should I? Okay. Thank you so much, sir. I think now I am visible. Okay. The program commenced with an inaugural ceremony held at auditorium of SVU. Distinguished guests, including vice chancellors from prominent universities of the West Zone region, were warmly welcomed by the organizing committee. Professor Rajashekharan Pillai, the vice chancellor of SVU, delivered the welcome address, expressing gratitude to AIU for hosting the prestigious event at SVU. The felicitation ceremony was conducted with great dignity and respect. The dignitaries were presented with a token of appreciation, including a personalized plaque, shawl, and the floral bouquet. The ceremony symbolized acknowledgement of the significant contribution to AIU and academia. Acknowledging the SVU administration for its meticulous arrangements, Dr. Pankaj Mittal, Secretary General AIU, in her introductory address, explained the robust structure of AIU, which comprises of 965 universities, including 16 overseas universities. Following her talk, Shri Sami Sumaya, Chancellor of SVU, commenced his address by reading a well-wishing message to the attendees from Shri Ramesh Bais, Honorable Governor of Maharashtra, emphasizing the pivotal role of Vice Chancellors in achieving the vision of a developed India. Dr. Vinay Kumar Pathak, Vice President of AIU and Vice Chancellor of CSJMU, Kanpur, paid tribute to mathematician Srinivas Ramanujan during his address, highlighting the Ramanujan's significant contribution to mathematics. Dr. Pathak discussed the transformative impact of the Internet's evolution, emphasizing the current data-centric era. Professor G.D. Sharma, President of AIU and the Vice Chancellor of USTM Meghalaya, emphasized the of Indian civilization and linked it to sustainability. After unveiling the special edition of University News, a newsletter of AIU at the hands of all the dignitaries, finally Professor Nandakumar Gilke, Registrar of SVU, thanked all for making it a great success and setting the tone for the meeting. The next session was on interface with officers from apex bodies. And the major recommendation of this were define and communicate clear jurisdiction boundaries for different educational disciplines to avoid confusion regarding regulatory oversight as seen with the allied sciences not falling under AICTE. In the near future, there is a possibility of making BCA and BBA as integrating courses. Consider integrating courses such as BCA and BBA in alignment with NEP guidelines to allow students to complete the entire curriculum within a defined time frame. Foster interdisciplinary collaboration for offering subjects like music as electives or combined courses, encouraging a multidisciplinary approach in line with NEP objectives. Provide universities with autonomy to introduce diploma courses and issue certificates independently, allowing for diverse educational offerings without mandatory AICTE accreditation for specific programs. Technology and agriculture can be integrated, but the permission must be taken from AICTE if it were an existing engineering college. There is a possibility of an interdisciplinary course BTech in agricultural engineering. Common syllabus for the program to avoid conflict of multiple affiliation, and it can also be facilitate a multi-exit system. As per the recommendations stipulated in the Model Act for Higher Agricultural Educational Institution in India, revised in 2023, has given the scope of concession in land requirement for urban area agricultural universities. Private universities with existing affiliations for the engineering colleges can take advantage for starting diploma courses, and AICTE permission is not required. Next technical session was on sustainable careers, navigating a dynamic work landscape, and this was after the lunch break, and this was chaired by Dr. Hemlata Bagla, VC, HSNC University. The major recommendations of this session are: educational institute should come up with the continuous learning policies so that students become lifelong learners and can adapt to the changing demands of their careers and build sustainable careers. Academicians should upskill themselves according to the changing needs of the society, industry, and students. Next technical session was on human-centered skills in tech-driven world, soft skills and emotional intelligence. And the major recommendations of this session are: integrate empathy, creativity, and inclusion into educational framework, nurturing collaboration and understanding. Establish a curriculum blending technical expertise with ethical values, prompting students to apply skills ethically. Implement activities fostering emotional intelligence through teamwork, empathy, building exercises, and reflective practices. Educate on AI limitations, stressing the importance of human intervention for critical thinking and decision making. Develop multifaceted skills like critical thinking and adaptability through diverse projects and experiential learning. Address technology-related challenges, advocating mindful use of AI and managing cognitive overload for holistic well-being. The cultural event during the AIU conference celebrated the cultural diversity of Maharashtra, Gujarat, Goa, and Rajasthan. The event, a resounding success, not only highlighted the state's heritage, but also fostered unity and appreciation for India's diverse cultural mosaic. Technical session 2 was on implementation of NEP, Future of Work and Education. The session, first, Professor Nitin Karmalkar, Chairman, Steering Committee for NEP, briefed the high number of graduate students, that is 32 lakh enrolling in the state, and informed how Maharashtra is gradually implementing NEP with a focus on skill development and traditional knowledge. Professor Victor Gambhir, Vice Chancellor, JEC RC University, Rajasthan, emphasized hybrid work and education, cognitive skills, critical thinking and vocational training starting in 6th grade to combat the 73% dropout rate. He informed how NEP 2020 is being used as a tool for social upliftment and increased employment opportunities. Recommended to incorporate disruptive technologies such as AI tools or ChatGPT in the education system. Employees should be equipped with AI-empowered tools and machine learning for their efficient working. Srimati Monica Gar, IAS, Additional Chief Secretary, Social Welfare Department and Minority Welfare and Muslim WAQF, Government of Uttar Pradesh, emphasized on education's transformative power for the national development and explored the influence of AI, that is AI, artificial intelligence, in providing real-time, accurate information, acknowledging both its potential and privacy concerns. Initiated Team UPAI and stressed AI's role as an enabler, not an adversary, promoting AI literacy through open educational resources. Made video lectures available on the portal of Uttarakhand Academy of Administration. She briefed on how AI would impact jobs. She highlighted its potential to create 97 million jobs while anticipating the loss of 85 million. Lastly, she advocated for the fusion of arts and technology to aid decision-making across in diverse fields. Dr. Neeraja Gupta, Vice Chancellor, Gujarat University, referred Tatyameva Jayate over Satyameva Jayate to highlight the significance of prevailing of truth and the real issues. He identified 3 key challenges in AI-driven education. First is cautioning against the risk of technology replacing human work. She mentioned humans have a major role to play in all domains. Advocated for recognizing the potential from green-collar jobs amidst blue and white-collar roles, emphasizing their fusion and technology. Critic the relevance on sit-down examination for life skill assessment in 2 credit courses, urging for innovative thinking beyond the conventional methods. Highlighted Gujarat's ecosystem supporting entrepreneurship and startups, emphasizing 5-year follow-up and monitoring system. Stressed the importance of universities expanding education beyond campus boundaries to embrace the end-to-end education system. Professor Gangadhar Shirode, VC, Balaji University, Pune, emphasized on NEP 2020 aims for a positive shift, focusing on character development and the holistic goal for man-making through education. And university should provide diverse opportunities while addressing the significant concerns. And then he highlighted on 6 key components, which are value-based education, craft-center education, job-center education, education for mass self-efficacy and independence, value addition and life balance programs introduced via initiatives like Swayam for skill development. Internship programs for industry, institute-industry interaction have a profound impact on the value system. And he mentioned of Surjan as an open discussion forum and a separate department dedicated to leadership, entrepreneurship programs and startups. At the end, Dr. Pankaj Mittal honored the session chair and speakers with a memento. And after this, the business session for AIU was conducted. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hema. We now request Secretary General AIU, Dr. Mrs. Pankaj Mittal, to address the gathering. Ma'am, please.
A very good afternoon to all of you once again. The chief guest of today's program, Ambassador Shri T.P. Srinivasanji, the Honorable President of AIU, Dr. G.D. Sharma ji, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Somaiya, Dr. V.N. Rajshekharan Pillai ji, all the esteemed Vice Chancellors who are here, the speakers of various sessions who are here and who spoke very well today, the faculty members, the organizers, the team AIU and the team Somaiya, which has really worked very hard, the students who are on various duties, the students who performed yesterday, very, very eloquent, very, very nice program which they gave. A very good afternoon to all of you and welcome to the valedictory session of the 1.5-day AIU West Zone Vice Chancellors Conference. The theme of the conference was Future of Work and Skill Development. And during these 2 days, when we spoke to each other, various speakers spoke on various sessions, it was very certain that future is uncertain. So when the future is uncertain, the biggest challenge is how to prepare students for something which is unknown, which is uncertain. So how to do it, that was a challenge. And some of the takeaways which I feel I could see from the 2 days conference is that although the future is uncertain, we can still prepare the students to adapt themselves to take care of that uncertainty. And how we can do it is, first, the suggestions which came, I'm telling in, say, 2-3 minutes, I'll be telling all, again, like a bullet train which was just running when she was reading the report. So first and foremost, everybody felt that liberal arts is very, very important, because when we talk of any subject, whether it's science, technology, medical, liberal arts is something which is very, very important, and it should form the part of the curriculum of every discipline in our, whatever programs the universities are running. Second thing, learning never stops. That we know. But nowadays it is more important to learn, relearn, unlearn, relearn. So this cycle of relearning will happen much more faster today. So we should equip our students, because they have to relearn even after going out of the university, even after they finish their programs. So they have to be equipped to have that knack of relearning, and that importance of relearning, that if you don't relearn again and again, you will be out of the system. So relearning is very, very important, so that lifelong learning is there. Third, multi-domain knowledge. Now we cannot survive with one knowledge. For example, suppose we have a civil engineer who knows the civil engineering very well. Suppose he goes to make a dam. So in that dam, he or she has to see whether, like, if the dam leads to some, say, displacement of some humans, so how to take care of them. So he should know the sociology, social sciences, psychology, the impact of dam on the environment. So he has to know something about the environment. So like this, every discipline needs multidisciplinary knowledge. So multi-domain knowledge is very, very important. Fourth, career resilience. You spoke about career resilience, that is adapting to the ever-changing work environment. So when you have to adapt to the ever-changing work environment, what do you have to do? You have to train your students to be adaptive. So how do we do it? By, say, curriculum changes, which can be not only of a specific like, but then general type, so that the students can adapt. We can be talking of experiential learning, we can be talking of continuous learning, we can be talking of lot many things to the students so that they become adaptable. Dr. Veluka spoke about being human in an AI world. How can we be human in AI world? He says AI has everything, but AI doesn't have a heart. So something which AI doesn't have, mostly AI has everything which we talk about, AI doesn't have a heart. And he gave a full definition of heart in terms of heart means H for humility, E for empathy, A for adaptability, R for resilience, and T for trust. Sir, I gave another definition of heart in addition to your definition. So I also feel that AI doesn't have heart in terms of H for humanity, E for emotions, A for affection, R for responsibility, and T for tolerance. So any definition which you give, but AI doesn't have a heart, we all have hearts. So we should know that how to make best use of our hearts and how to win over AI. Sixth was that somebody spoke that we cannot prepare future for learners, but we can prepare learners for future. So that is very important, that we prepare learners for future. So our universities and colleges have that responsibility. And also the fact that it's not that only the toppers in a university, the ones who have a very good academic acumen, they will be the best workers or the happiest persons in the life. It depends upon the life skills, it depends upon the soft skills, it depends upon many more things. So we don't have to make our students sort of a person who is going in a fixed direction, sort of jisko hum bolte koop manduk. We have to make them abreast with everything. So holistic development of the students is very, very important. Then there was a very good suggestion that we should compile a book which should have case studies from universities on what they have done to promote a human-centric skills in the students. So we will try to make that book, and I think it will be good. And today we talked about the NEP implementation, and today only I realized that in India we are in a unique position where the future is determined by three things. One, which is only unique to India, is NEP. second, COVID, which is world over, and third is AI and machine learning. So these three things are impacting the future of higher education, and we should take care that we use these as an opportunity. And lastly, unskilling and digital dexterity is very important in this VUCA world. We have to promote creative thinking, cognitive skills in our students. So a lot of responsibility lies on the shoulders of our universities, because the demographic dividend which we talk about, the youngsters which we talk about, they are in the university system. So unless universities take it upon themselves to prepare them for a future, the demographic dividend which we are talking of can become a demographic disaster also. So a lot of responsibility lies on the shoulders of the university to ensure that this remains as a dividend, not a disaster. So thank you very much for coming, and thanks to everybody who has made this conference successful, including the attendees, because the participants, if they are not there, all the arrangements are futile. So thanks a lot to everybody for making it successful. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madam. We now request the President of the Association of Indian Universities and the Vice Chancellor of University of Science and Technology, Meghalaya, Professor G.D. Sharma, sir, to deliver the presidential address.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to every one of you. In this valedictory function of the West Zone Vice Chancellors Meet on Future of Work and Skill Development, hosted by Somaya Vidya Vihar University, Mumbai, organized by AIU. In this, we have chief guest, Honorable Sri T.P. Srinivasanji, former Ambassador and Permanent Representative of India to the UN, former Vice Chairman, State Higher Education Council, Kerala, Honorable Professor V.N. Rajsekharan Pillaiji, Honorable VC of Somaya Vidya Vihar University, Mumbai, our very dynamic Secretary General, Dr. Mrs. Pankaj Mittal, and very, very honorable members from different university, the honorable Vice Chancellors, our faculty members, officers from Somaya Vidya Vihar, our officers from AIU, and dear students. At the outset, I would like to thank the Honorable Chancellor of this university, Shri Samir Somaya ji, who is a very dynamic, best example of having industry and education working together as an example for many of us, and also many of the industrialists as well as educationists, that how these two can go together serving the society. I still remember his things that his grandfather used to say, earn with 100 hands and give with 1,000 hands. And his grandfather has not taken even water from this university, that it is only for the society. Once we have such kind of the feeling that we are as educationists for creating the opportunity for our youths, for bringing society and making them competitive through development of their confidence, which used to be there before 1835, when we used to feel proud that whatever we have is best. So this thing has to come out, that whatever we have is best. Swami Vivekananda also said that India is richest in spiritual education, metaphysics. Our pupil can reach any planet without using any physical means, without using any mechanical means. They can measure the distance without using the scale. They can measure the weight without using the gram or anything, and which is now being proved. Whatever even the things like development of light or the other scientific methods, they are now being told by West people that they have taken from the old our Sanskrit literature. That means they have done a lot of work studying our old traditional knowledge, converting them, proving them scientifically. That's what Swamiji said, that what we need in India is to bring technology to our country so that this does not remain as myth. They can be proved. And that's what today it says, NEP 2020, that in a very, very dynamic system of work, which is changing, ever changing, fast changing, only through technology we can meet to go along with this change. Therefore, the youths have to be made technological savvy as well as the teachers. So to make it continuous technological savvy, that means the improvement of our infrastructure, the system of continuous learning, the continuous also incorporation of this learning through the technology. But what today Madam Monica Garg said, that connect this learning to the corporate business or economy, what she says the World Economic Forum. So when we say connect with the economy, our country is richest in resources, natural resources, biological resources, as well as climatic resources. There is no country in the world where you have sea, deepest sea, and the highest hill of Himalaya. No country in this world is having all kinds of the climate in their country. We have so much rich biodiversity, one of the hot spots. So these things have to be now converted in, brought under the education system, so that the technology, particularly AI, can be used. Each region is so rich in food. Today, yesterday, we had food here so different. If we can market it, you will find it. So much money will flow, because in West, what is there? Only one type of routine, one type of clothing, only one type. Here diversity is there. This diversity has to make the future, but we have to retain it. That is more important. That we should not get lost into such things. So the future of education has to incorporate, make a strong base on our own indigenous things, whether it is knowledge, whether it is resources. We should not get flooded with the foreign things and then lose all those things, and then they take our knowledge and bring back to us in the form of their own pattern. So this is the challenge, to protect our knowledge as well as create new jobs using the technology. And today's And yesterday's deliberations have been very, very interactive, very, we can say, opening new areas. That indicates our universities are also very dynamic. They are implementing NEP 2020 in their own way, in their own need of the region. That means they are also taking care of mapping of the need of the region. And once those needs are taken into bringing the solutions, that will create numerous jobs, opportunities for our youths. Today's youth's aspirations are high. Only thing, they have to be put under the activity-oriented teaching learning so that they bring some solutions as per the need, as per their own thoughts. Creativity can only come when we have such kind of learning. So I am sure that these 2 days deliberations have opened new areas, new thought processes, and also created academic linkages. Now you can see that earlier in zonal conferences, very few vice chancellors used to come physically, whereas now the number has gone at least 3 times, as well as this has been extended to all the VCs through blended mode, and therefore AI has been used by AIU to provide opportunity to everyone and also to get feedback so that continuity is maintained in improving our work culture as well as how we can involve and go beyond the boundary so that the knowledge power of Bharat start going to the neighboring country. As Madam rightly said, that we are going to create the first time from AIU the relationship between Nepal and Bharat, how this Bharat knowledge of NEP 2020 can guide even the higher education of Nepal. That is our purpose. And then taking to Bangladesh, taking to Bhutan. So in that way, first taking to neighboring countries and then going beyond the Asian countries to other countries. Already the process has started. I am sure with your all cooperation, with your all suggestions, AIU will be more vibrant and dynamic, and I look forward that you will always be providing new ideas so that can be infused and it can be made inclusive. And I also take this opportunity to thank Professor V.N. Rajsekharan Pillaiji and his whole team who has been so kind to take care of each one of us so nicely, and under his leadership we have got such a good facility, and this meet has been very, very vibrant. I am sure that the West Zone will lead further to provide a better roadmap for the new ways of the work as well as the better improving our continuous efforts for the quality education, particularly through NEP 2020. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir. We will now have the release of the souvenir comprising articles on the main theme and sub-themes of the meet. I invite Shri Ashish Tambe, Director, PR, Somaya Vidyavihar University, on the dais, please. Thank you. It's my proud privilege to introduce the distinguished chief guest for today's valedictory function, Ambassador T.P. Srinivasan. Sir has had a prolific career in the Indian Foreign Service starting 1967. He undertook various roles globally, serving as a legation secretary in Tokyo and Thimphu, then as a secretary in Moscow, Indian High Commissioner in Suva, Fiji, responsible for multiple South Pacific island nations, as Deputy Permanent Representative of India to the United Nations in New York, Indian High Commissioner in Nairobi, Kenya, and Deputy Ambassador in Washington, D.C. Subsequently, from 2000 to 2004, Sir served as the Indian Ambassador in Vienna for Austria and Slovenia, while concurrently acting as the permanent representative of India to the United Nations and the International Atomic Energy Agency in Vienna, retiring in June 2004. Besides his diplomatic career, Sir has held key roles in Kerala's education sector, leading the Council for Higher Education and serving as an Executive Vice President with the rank of Vice Chancellor. Srinivasan Sir has been contributing as a columnist for various newspapers and magazines and has authored autobiographical works detailing his nearly 4-decade-year diplomatic journey. We are really honored to have you here, sir. We request, sir, to kindly deliver the valedictory address.
The distinguished president of the AIU, Professor G.D. Sharma, the Secretary General of the AIU, Professor Pankaj Mittal, Vice Chancellor of Somaiya University, Dr. V.N. Rajshekharan Pillai, distinguished Vice Chancellors, guests and friends. I'm greatly honored that I have been given this opportunity to deliver a valedictory address. I do not recall having been under a single roof with so many prominent educationists. And that has been an experience that I was enjoying in the last 2 days. But I must confess that I have an identity crisis here. I spent 40 years in diplomacy and 4 years in higher education. And thanks to the generosity of Dr. Rajshekharan Pillai, I am now in a second incarnation of my academic life. As the professor, he calls me an eminent professor in this university. So when I was invited, I decided to come in a listening mode. But surprisingly, I found myself with the responsibility of being the valedictorian. I think this conference has been analyzed at length. And I have 2 challenges. One is to keep you away from hunger, or not to keep you away from hunger. In fact, I was going for lunch thinking that there was a break. But then I remembered that some technique I used recently was used on me. We had a Somaiya conference in Trivandrum, a one-day meeting. And we had a valedictorian, a Portuguese expert. And we did not know whether we should serve tea and then have the valedictory. Then someone said everybody will go away after tea, so there will be nobody at the valedictory. So we decided to have the valedictory without the dinner. But our guest from Portugal did not care about that. He gave a 1-hour lecture on Portuguese literature. But I'm not going to do that. I would just share some thoughts with you. With the introduction that I'm somewhat like a monkey who learned how to bicycle. You know, the monkey thought that he would get better respect from human beings and from monkeys themselves if he had a technique mastered which monkeys do not have. But after that, when he went to the monkeys to demonstrate his skill, he said, "You are a human being because you are cycling, so don't be here, you go to the human beings." He was very happy that he was promoted. When he went to the human beings, they said, "You are a monkey, what are you doing here?" So I'm a bit like that, because you may wonder what I'm doing here, having been done only diplomatic work around the world for 37 years. I had a brief stint in the Kerala education sector. I must tell you that I seem to be the only one without a PhD here. And I've never been a vice chancellor in my life. But I was made the chairman of the Vice Chancellor's Council in Kerala University. So these are all contradictions. But all of us, whether we are in education field or not, have ideas about our education system. And we were able to prepare a roadmap for Kerala's higher education in a very short while, thanks to the other vice chancellors who were in my group. And we very quickly discovered that there are 5 or 6 things we need to do. One was infrastructure. Second was use of technology. I'm talking about 15 years ago. Third was teachers' training. Fourth was autonomy. Fifth was research. And sixth was internationalization. We submitted about 16 reports, but in the highly politicized atmosphere in Kerala, where education is merely an instrument of politicians to gain influence in the community, nothing was implemented. But now, after several years, the same leftist political party has announced that they are going to do many things that we had proposed 15 years ago. But one generation of students lost that opportunity. So I'm not going to elaborate on all that now. But 2 or 3 things I thought I heard and thought that I would like to share some thoughts about some of them. The biggest controversy about education today in Kerala and also outside, and one of the speakers spoke about it, is the exodus of students from India abroad for education. This year, the figure is something like 1 million students will leave India this year. How do we take it? Do we take it as a curse or a blessing? Many people tend to say that this is negative and therefore we ought to do something about it. It is in a way true, because if our education system was better, and if we had the employment opportunities, perhaps so many students would have left, but not have left. But I'm of the view that migration is a process of growth. If you look back at civilizations, you will know that it was always migration which led to enrichment of civilizations. When you leave your home and go out, you will naturally become more creative if you read books or autobiographies of writers and others who have left their home country and written about their lives. You will see that it was a kind of resurgence that took place. Move away from your circumstances and look at the world differently, and that is a sign of growth. Suppose Indian engineers, doctors, nurses, etc. had not gone to Europe in the 60s, the situation in the United States as well as in India would have been very different. If the people from Kerala had not gone to the Gulf in 1973, the Gulf would have been different, Kerala would have been different. And this is not a brain drain, it's a brain overflow, because we have enough brains in our country. And Indians who leave the country do not really leave India alone. It's often said that you can take an Indian out of India, but you cannot take India out of him. The general belief is that Indians believe that their tan, that is the body, must be in the United States. Their man, that is the mind, should be in India. And their dhan, which is the wealth, should be in the Swiss banks. This is a perfect arrangement. So we should not disturb it, because this gives the opportunity of our people to go for greener pastures and make a living which is good. And finally, I'm sure they will at least come back to build their homes in India, or at least to come and look after their parents. So I do not think that this is negative. But what is negative is that one of the reasons for this exodus to begin is the fact that the education system is not adequate. In the world, education has changed in the last 10 years more than at any time in history of 100 years. But we seem to be standing still, and we still look at technology and changes as somewhat detrimental to our own culture and education. We look at AI with great concern. The UN Security Council, which could not meet on the occasion of the pandemic or the occasion of the Russia-Ukraine war, or now during the Palestine-Hamas war, conducted or held an emergency meeting to consider the dangers of AI. Because they said unless it is regulated, AI will destroy the world. But look at all the changes from the first industrial revolution onwards. Do you think AI is a greater danger to modern world today, more than the steam engine was during the industrial revolution? The steam engine, in fact, posed a greater threat to the lifestyle of the people of that century, more than what AI would do, because we have been through several processes of technology. You must have all heard or read Yuval Harari, the Jewish historian of the future. He said at a Davos meeting that the world will not end because of a nuclear war or because of a pandemic. He was talking about it before COVID-19. But because the people will be full of useless human beings as a result of the growth of technology. He called them the refugees of technology. Because he said that if you have Tesla cars which will be driven by itself, What will happen to all the drivers who have lived their whole life driving cars? He cannot operate the computer inside Tesla, so he will become a refugee of technology. But we heard today, I was very happy with the session on artificial intelligence, particularly what I heard from the experience of UP. We have to approach this as a non-scary technological development. In fact, my son, who is an expert on AI in the university in Columbia, he is now going around the world giving a lecture called Non-Scary AI. So I picked up some of these points from him, because there have always been challenges. Technology was always a challenge to the generation when it was first introduced. But none of them has done any harm. The fear is that with artificial intelligence, the future Hitlers and Mussolinis will be so powerful, they may become like Narakasuras who will go after Shiva to destroy him. But that is not the experience that mankind. AI can be managed in such a way as we have done others, because when we don't look back very much to see what has happened to each of these technologies and how it transformed and how we have forgotten them. The revolutionary technologies, we are not anymore bothered about it because it is already. So we have to see this whole technological development in the historical context of what human beings have gone through. And that will give you a kind of confidence that we can use it for the good of mankind in a very intelligent manner. So the utilization of artificial intelligence as described to us by our senior official from UP, we feel confident that we can do this, and we should not be uncomfortable with it. One other point I wanted to make was that we talk a lot about comprehensive education, liberal education, but we in the universities, tend to look at the universities as a particular entity which is not connected with the world. In the last 2 days of discussions, I noticed that nobody talked about the 2 wars raging in the world, as though you're all happily separated from this crisis. Nobody mentioned it. Nobody mentioned the environmental degradation that is taking place in the world, threatening humanity more than anything else. There was a meeting in Dubai, of what is called COP28. How many of you noticed that a new change has taken place? Back in 1995, when COP1 was held in Berlin, and I happened to be the vice chairman of that COP1, when I suggested that we should mention fossil fuels in our final declaration, the OPEC countries walked out of the conference saying that they would not accept any reference. And now 20 years later, in Dubai, which is built on the wealth of oil, 7,000 delegates went there and reached an agreement not on phasing down or phasing out fossil fuels, but at least to accept a transition. And for oil-rich countries to accept a transition away from fossil fuels is a big sacrifice. So, over the years, we have been able to move at least 1 inch towards saving humanity from climate change. So when we discuss education and teaching and AI and everything else, I think we need to have a much more comprehensive outlook. And how is it that we can help in the process of decision making on environmental technologies? One of the most interesting developments in the last few years is the fact that the young people, not just Greta Thunberg, but young people are demanding action from the governments, from the leadership. And how can universities be out of it? I'm not sure suggesting that you are not doing anything about it. But if you take a more comprehensive view of the world, we will find that all these will pass. But our responsibility is to be in the process of decision making, encouraging optimistic thought about what is going on in the world. And finally, the question that we should ask is not only whether our education system is competent enough to deal with our problems, but also to be able to appreciate what has happened in the past. And it will be comfortable if you are willing to think that if our predecessors have been able to manage to survive as human beings in this world, we and our children will also survive. And that spirit, if we are able to inculcate among our students and encourage them to be part of the change that we want, I think the multidisciplinary approach and the comprehensive approach of the new education policy would materialize. But let me say how grateful I am for the enlightenment and the insights I gained by being here for 2 days. And I have to thank the AIU and the university to which I belong for having given me the opportunity. I remember participating in an AIU meeting several years ago in Kochi. And I realized how dynamic that organization has been. It was my experience with the AIU, and I could realize, as the General Secretary said, that she is the mother of the universities. And so it has been a pleasure to be here, to hear you, and to understand, update my understanding of the educational system in India and the effort that all of you are making. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We now invite Dr. G.D. Sharma, President, AIU, to present a token of gratitude from the Association of Indian Universities to our esteemed chief guest, Ambassador T.P. Srinivasan.
We now invite Joint Secretary AIU Dr. Alok K. Mishra, who has been involved in conducting VC meets for all zones, to propose the vote of thanks.
सभी को नमस्कार। आज इस कार्यक्रम की प्रतिष्ठा में हमारे बीच श्रीनिवासन सर यहाँ उपस्थित हैं। सर, आपको आदरपूर्वक हम सब नमस्कार करते हैं और आपको धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करते हैं कि आपने इस समापन समारोह की शोभा को बढ़ाया है। आपकी उपस्थिति से हम लोग जो है वो इस समापन समारोह को एक पूर्ण महसूस कर रहे हैं और राष्ट्र की शिक्षा के उत्थान में सतत रूप से आप माननीय वाइस चांसलर महोदय जिस प्रकार से राष्ट्र को आगे ले जाने में लगातार प्रयास कर रहे हैं, आप सामान्य नहीं, आप देश के वो महान लोग हैं। आपकी एक महानता है जिसे ईश्वर ने कहीं चुना है कि आपको इस पद पे आसीन किया है और उस आसीनता के साथ, उस व्यस्तता के साथ में आप यहाँ उपस्थित होकर के इस वेस्ट जोन की जो वाइस चांसलर मीट की गरिमा को बढ़ाया है। हम हृदय से आप सबके लिए बहुत बहुत आभारी हैं और AIU परिवार की तरफ से और पूरी हमारी जो टीम है AIU की, उस सबकी तरफ से जो है यह सादरपूर्वक नमन और नमस्कार। और यह हॉल भी, ये सभागार भी आपके लिए तालियां बजाने के लिए उद्यत हो रहा है। मैं चाहता हूं कि ऐसी ही जो आपकी शुद्धि रूप में जो जिस प्रकार से आपने प्रश्नों के द्वारा, आपने अपने विचारों के द्वारा इस सिर्फ समारोह को झंकृत नहीं किया है, बल्कि अपने अंदर भी कुछ न कुछ अंकित किया कहीं पर और उसे पुष्पित और पल्लवित करने के लिए आप अपने संस्थानों में उसे आगे ले जाएं। मुझे लगता है इस समारोह का जो उद्देश्य है वो कहीं एक जागृति ही नहीं सिर्फ है, बल्कि उसे कृतित्व में ले जाने की कहीं प्रेरणा भी है। आप बहुतों के लिए आदर्श हैं, इसलिए ये जो है समारोह हमेशा बहुत महत्वपूर्ण होता है और हम सब जो है बिना आपके ये संभव नहीं था। तो हम एक बार पुनः मैं कह रहा हूं कि आप हमारे आभार को स्वीकार करो, मैं उसे प्रेषित करता हूं और साथ साथ आपको आमंत्रित भी करता हूं कि आने वाले जो हमारा वार्षिक समारोह है वो जो हैदराबाद में होगा, जल्द ही आपको पत्र और आपको डेट सूचित किए जाएंगे। उसके लिए आप उसको भी अभी से अंकित कर लें और वहां भी सुशोभित करें। समय बहुत कम है, ऑलरेडी हम लोग बहुत विलंब हो चुके हैं और बहुत सारे मालूम है कि इस समारोह को सफल बनाने में बहुत सारे लोगों ने सहयोग प्रदान किया। इस विश्वविद्यालय के जो है माननीय कुलपति महोदय यहाँ बैठे हुए हैं। सर जो है वो मैं बहुत सारे नाम को अंकित नहीं करना चाहूँगा, बट मैं ज़रूर ये कहूँगा कि जिस खुले दिल से माननीय वाइस चांसलर महोदय ने और आपके चांसलर महोदय ने, सुमेश साहब ने जिस प्रकार से खुले दिल से स्वागत किया है, सभी सत्कार किया, ख्याल रखा है, उसके लिए इस पूरे सुमैया परिवार को मैं हृदय से धन्यवाद देता हूं। आप सभी वाकिफ हैं कि यह समारोह इस रूप तक पहुंच पाना जो है उसमें AIU का जो नेतृत्व है, जो आदरणीय जो माननीय प्रेसिडेंट साहब यहाँ बैठे हुए हैं आपके मार्गदर्शन में और माननीय हमारी जो है महासचिव महोदय, सेक्रेटरी जनरल पंकज मित्तल मैडम, ये आपके उस सोच और विचार उस नए प्रकार से किस प्रकार से और बने, किन विषयों पर चर्चा हो, आपने जिस प्रकार के विषय और चिंतन को लगातार आकार दिया है, वो आपके राष्ट्र के निर्माण की एक अंदर की कहीं दृढ़ता है जो हमेशा चिंतन करते हैं किन विषयों पर चिंतन करें। आपने देखा किस प्रकार की नए तरह के पुस्तकों का सृजन हुआ इन सालों में, जो है किस तरह के मोनोग्राम बने, किस योजनाएं बनी हैं। तो मैं, मैडम, आप और सर उपस्थित हैं, मैं बहुत सादरपूर्वक सभी की तरफ से जो है मैं धन्यवाद देता हूं कि आपका यह जो योगदान जो अब है वो सतत राष्ट्र को मिलता रहे। बहुत बहुत सर आभार। ये सिर्फ धन्यवाद का वक्त नहीं जो है, बट मैं ये कहूँगा कि इसमें जैसा कि देखा आपने इस टीम में जो ट्रेवल टीम है यहाँ की है, मैं दिया कि लिस्ट लंबी लिस्ट, तो ट्रेवल टीम, यहाँ की फूड टीम, यहाँ के सारे जो लोग हैं, और उससे बड़ी चीज़ जिस इस माइक से हम आवाज़ को सुन पा रहे हैं, यहाँ के रिकॉर्डिंग टीम और यहाँ के सारे सभी जो खड़े हैं लगातार ये 12-12 घंटे खड़े होकर के काम कर रहे हैं। तो हम सब इनको भी हम बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देते हैं कि आप इस सूचनाओं को सिर्फ यही नहीं, देश के अन्य विश्वविद्यालयों में बैठे वाइस चांसलर और उनके कुछ और सफल लोग जो है इस कार्यक्रम को देख रहे हैं, तो उनको आपके माध्यम से पहुंच रहा है। तो इस पूरी मीडिया टीम और उनको भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और साथ साथ हम ये कहेंगे कि यहाँ पर जो इस समारोह में भी जो आपने देखा कि यहाँ के जो रिपोर्टर्स हैं, यहाँ पे जो सारे कार्यक्रम को पीछे स्टेज संभाल रहे हैं, उनको भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि उन्होंने बहुत सुचित समय से सब कुछ करने का प्रयास किया है। और देश के अन्य कोनों से बहुत सारे अधिकारी और अन्य राज्यों से भी आए। मैडम गाరు उत्तर प्रदेश से आई हुई हैं, आपका बहुत बहुत आभार। लोगों ने बहुत अच्छा उद्बोधन दिया, बहुत सारे विचार दिए, उन सब के लिए हम सभी आभारी रहेंगे और हम आगे भी आपसे जो है कृतज्ञ रहेंगे कि आप लगातार इस प्रकार सहयोग, समर्थन और अपने रूप पर जो है अपना आशीर्वचन भी बनाए रखें AIU पे, कि वो जब भी कुछ ऐसी चीज़ हो तो आपकी संगठनात्मक जो शक्ति है वो एक नई ऊर्जा और नए संस्कार को भी जन्म देती है। तो मैं इन सबके साथ साथ AIU के एक साथ के कुछ हमारे और अधिकारी जो हमारे सहयोगी यहाँ उपस्थित हैं, विजेंद्र जी हैं हॉल में, तो बिल्कुल बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद कि वो सतत पीछे जो काम करते थे साइलेंट रूप से जो है लगातार आप लोग कम्युनिकेशन मिलता रहा होगा। रमा पानी मैडम जो किन्हीं कारणों से उपस्थित नहीं है, उनको भी बहुत बहुत आभार। और AIU में पीछे बैठे ऑफिस में बहुत से लोग काम करते हैं जिनको कि शायद आप सभी कहीं मिलते होंगे, करते होंगे, तो बस उन सभी को भी बहुत धन्यवाद। उनमें शिवम दीक्षित जी जो IT वहाँ संभाल रहे हैं, बाकी कि हर जगह स्ट्रीमिंग पहुँचती रहे, शिवम दीक्षित जी वहाँ पर हैं। मैडम की ऑफिस में निशांत गोपाल जी जो लगातार कम्युनिकेशन को वहाँ संभालते, ऐसे ही हमारे स्पोर्ट और एक्टिविटी संभालते हैं, वहाँ बलजीत शेखो साहब हैं, अमित पानी साहब हैं जो रिसर्च संभालते हैं, और ऐसे ही रंजना परिहार, सब कुछ फाइनेंस से न गुजरे फिर भी दिक्कत होती है, तो सभी का सहयोग रहता है। तो आभार सभी को, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, बहुत बहुत आभार जो है। और आपको हम इन सब के साथ में जैसा कि कहा कि ये समापन समारोह की चीज़ है, तो माननीय प्रेसिडेंट महोदय की अनुमति से मैं इस समारोह के समापन की घोषणा चाहता हूँ कि इसको हम ऐसे यहीं पे समाप्त नहीं करते हैं, बट एक नई आगाज की शुरुआत भी करते हैं कि जो आज यहाँ कुछ हुआ है कि कैसे ह्यूमन, मैडम ने बोला कि हार्ट की परिभाषाएं बहुत हो सकती हैं, लेकिन एक हार्ट आप में है, तो आप अपनी परिभाषा बनाएं और अपने विश्वविद्यालय को नया आकार, नया प्रकार और देश को एक नए विकास तरफ ले जाएं। भारत जागृत हो चुका है और ये उस जागृति मंत्र का भारत सर के जो का सूत्र बना है, उससे पहले ही हमारे सेक्रेटरी जनरल मैडम ने और हमारी टीम ने जो है कि भारत जो है वो 2047 में क्या होगा उसकी योजना की पूरी पीठिका बना दी है। तो आप सहयोगी बने और भारत के उत्कृष्ट बनाने में और उसको शीर्ष बनाने में जो है अपना सर्वस्व देते रहें। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, बहुत बहुत आभार।
Thank you so much, Dr. Alok. Before we close the valedictory program with the national anthem, we invite all the distinguished vice chancellors to kindly grace the dais with the dignitaries for a group photograph. We'll close with the national anthem post that, and we will proceed for lunch in Gargi Plaza. Yes, we invite all chancellors, vice chancellors, and the guests. We will close the program with the national anthem. Request everybody to please rise.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे